Hello and welcome everybody to the podcast and to our wonderful members of the Ayurveda and Women's Health Sisterhood in our Facebook group. Today we have the beautiful Kyra Edwards speaking to us. She's from the Sunshine Coast, so not too far from the Gold Coast. And well, kind of, it's like a couple of hours drive, but beautiful, beautiful place of the world. And Kyra is an Ayurvedic practitioner and the owner of Ayurveda Oasis, which is a boutique Ayurvedic wellness clinic based on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. And her mission is to help relieve suffering and uplift her community with mind-body therapies, massage, and Ayurveda. And so today I wanted to bring Kyra on to talk about the different Ayurvedic body therapies and treatments, because very different to what I do as a practitioner. So I specialize in women's hormonal health, and I don't do the body therapies, but Kyra is, amazing at those. So I really wanted her to explain them and how it helps you heal from a mind, body, and spiritual perspective as well. So welcome to the podcast, Kyra.
Thank you so much, Harmony. I'm so pumped to be here with you today.
Hey, so excited to have you. And it's been beautiful because, social media can be a curse, but it can also be a blessing. And we met over social media. So it's wonderful to be able to meet people like yourself and then have you on my podcast. So it's nice.
Awesome.
I love connecting with other Ayurvedic practitioners.
Love it.
I always start my podcast with the rapid inspiration questions. So the first one is, can you inspire us with what your superpower is?
Yeah, I love this one. So I think I can say that my superpower is relaxing people with touch. Mm-hmm. So one of my awesome clients actually calls me magic fingers. And I have really little hands, but they're very strong and they're very kind. And I know how to touch people in a gentle way that tells their nervous system that they are safe and that they can relax. So I think that's my power.
I've sold your therapies already. Well done. And do you have a favorite quote or mantra?
I do. Okay, so this one I saw the other day is hilarious. Caterpillars have to dissolve into a disgusting pile of goo to become butterflies. So if you're a mess right now, keep going. I love that because the breakdowns that I've had have most often pushed me to make positive change. So that would be my favorite quote, but I've also got a little mantra, which is just like an affirmation. And that is, I lovingly listen to my body and its needs.
Beautiful. And
I love affirmations, and I use them a lot in the rituals and the treatments I do as well.
I loved your quote because no one has about a squash caterpillar. So that's amazing. We're going to be good friends. Same sense of humor. So who or what is inspiring you at the moment?
So my clients and when they have transformative treatments is what inspires me a lot. I'm honored to treat my community, and I want to be a positive role model as well. My partner also inspires me a lot. So he often quite firmly reminds me of how much he believes in me, and he's also been working on his health and his wealth and his self-growth. And I just really vibe with that when we're both in that energy together. Yeah. And as we were talking about before, I've recently recovered from a second laparoscopic surgery to address endometriosis, literally just at the start of September. And we want to conceive, hopefully, in the near future. So that obviously is inspiring me to live a healthy life too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to be such a beautiful mum. You've just got this beautiful, earthy, beautiful motherly energy as well. And those beautiful healing hands.
Thank you.
So can you share with us your story on your path to becoming an Ayurvedic practitioner and then opening Ayurveda Oasis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I might have to go back a little bit for this one. But I think Ayurveda came into my life in a lucky kind of way. I was actually on a completely different study journey before learning about Ayurveda. But I was struggling a little bit mentally during uni prior to Ayurveda. I just had no idea where I was going with it, and for various reasons, I experienced some periods of depression. That was maybe a year after moving from Cairns to Sunshine Coast. So I think I was 19 or 20. I knew that I wanted to study something that I could be passionate about, that was health related, and that could give me a pathway to do some kind of good in the world. So my now mother-in-law introduced me to Ayurveda in 2016. And shout out to Julie, because she has been coming to me for weekly treatments for like 4 or 5 years now. And she looks incredible for her age. She has not aged a day since she got her first Ayurvedic treatment. I am serious. Her legs are like a 40-year-old.
Yeah. That's because Ayurveda is all about the longevity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how to
anyway,
age gracefully.
Yeah. So I was exposed to alternative therapies and home remedies a lot when I was a child. I had some, health issues like digestive stuff and bronchitis. And mum's really cool. She's really open and really into health and wellness too. So Ayurveda didn't seem like too far out for me, but I never thought I would be doing massage. I just never thought about it before. However, at one stage, I did think I was going to be an equine manual therapist because I was going down kind of the vet pathway. Anyway, so I was really into the holistic nature of Ayurveda and how much there was that I could learn within it. So I began studying at AIAS. So in my second year of Ayurveda school, we'll call it, I knew I wanted to make it my career. I was working in hospitality while studying. And when I graduated, I just continued to give treatments to family and friends in like my cute home office space. And then in 2020, I turned the flat, which is on the first floor of our home, which was previously rented, into like a bohemian clinic. And soon after the pandemic began, which was like a bit crazy, but like I've absolutely loved delving into, practicing Ayurveda, and I really love the space that I've created and the connections that it's brought into my life.
So do you do Ayurvedic consultations and herbology with that as well, or do you just focus on the body therapies?
So I always do a short consult before I give therapies. Otherwise, it's not really Ayurveda if you're not really, fine tuning it to suit the person. So I do often spend quite a time, I allow that little bit of time before and after my treatments to, discuss what's going on with that person and what their goals are. And I have a small range of herbs here as well. So, but that's something I would like to expand more into down the track, but I'm just taking one step at a time. And if it's okay, I would just love to share like where the name Ayurveda Oasis came from.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Cool. Just real quickly. So it comes from an idea of this inner oasis, which I describe as an embodied experience of inner peace and feeling content in your being. So my goal with Ayurveda Oasis and the rituals that I offer is to help my clients find their way to their own inner oasis.
Amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
What's been your greatest lesson that you have received through your journey with Ayurveda, would you say?
Living a healthy life doesn't have to be difficult. It can be easy and enjoyable. And I'd love to flesh that out a little bit, if that's okay. Yeah. So as I mentioned before, I previously worked long shifts in hospitality work. I would start the day often a bit anxious. Breakfast would be coffee. My lunch would either be skipped or rushed. It was common for me to suppress my natural urges. And at the end of the shift, like my tank would be empty because I was tired. I wasn't feeding myself correctly. I would fall into functioning on autopilot, seeking comfort and distraction and sugar. And all of that just aggravated my vata, clouded my mind, and I think led to painful periods and mood issues as well. So, like, when you're in that situation, the only option is to like forgive yourself and move on, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just saying, I was a shift worker as well as an emergency nurse. So I hear you with the holding on to urges and the shitty hours, and
no time for eating, like,
irregular meals and eat what you can get your hands on.
Absolutely.
And for women, it's just such a hormone disruptor, all of those patterns.
Hugely. Yeah. So, and I think like taking action for me at times felt really overwhelming. It was like sometimes I was really hard on myself, which wasn't good for my pitta. And then sometimes I would play this like fear-based story in my mind that changing my habits was going to be this huge and difficult feat, which made me kind of fearful. And then I just want to like hermit on the couch and ignore everything, which is like, hello, kapha, right?
Yeah. All of it.
Yeah. It took me a few breakdowns and breakthroughs to get to where I am now, and I'm sure I'll have more. But yeah, I feel like I've been able to create a career that really supports my well-being. I've learned to listen to that little voice of my higher self that's telling me not to have a second or a third or fourth cookie. And yeah, because I eat less crap and I focus on whole foods and healthy fats, I have more brain capacity to continue to make healthy choices. And I can now recognize like when those old stories show up again. So yeah, and when I do make, maybe a possibly unhealthy choice, I can be mindful of that. And I know that literally at any moment, like just with a new breath, it doesn't even have to be the next day. It can be just the literal next moment. I can check in with myself and just reset.
Exactly. And I think that's so important. It doesn't, when you slip off the wagon, so to speak, we always think, tomorrow, the next day I'll make it better. But like you said, it doesn't have to be the next day. It can be the next breath, the next moment. We're like so lucky to have so many new fresh moments with every breath. So that's amazing. I love that. And so as an Ayurvedic practitioner, what drew you to specializing in providing rejuvenation body therapies more so?
Yeah. So as you know, Ayurveda is this wealth of information and it's so fascinating. I want to know it all, but I really found the practical element of offering the body therapies really enjoyable during my studies. I'm very much like a hands-on learner. As a teenager, I was really into beauty as well. So my inner child has a lot of fun, like using the herbs and oils and the crystals and the Kunza wands and the copper gua sha. So that's like partly what inspired me initially to focus on offering body therapies. And then I started just getting consistently amazing feedback from my clients, and that just like propelled me forward. I've also really valued, I've also always really valued attention to detail, and the Ayurvedic framework allows you to fine tune treatments to suit your client's bio individuality, which keeps it really interesting. And I work with a lot of different people too, and everyone is so unique. So every treatment feels a little bit different and special. So yeah, that's what inspires me to keep specializing in the body therapies.
I guess I'd love for you to go through a few of the Ayurvedic body therapies and explain their healing benefits and how they pacify the doshas. But I think maybe we should start with explaining how Ayurvedic body therapy treatments play a really important role in balancing the mind and body.
Yeah. So I'll quickly mention here that we often refer to these treatments as body therapies, which is easy, like people understand that. But I think a more accurate term is mind-body rituals, because Ayurvedic treatments, they're not just for the body.
Yeah.
They can actually feel ceremonial in nature, and many people have some level of emotional or spiritual shift during an Ayurvedic treatment as well. So, in essence, Ayurvedic treatments intend to harmonize all parts of self so that the individual can return to that flow state and that sense of wholeness and contentment within themselves. Therapies, the body therapies share the same aims as Ayurveda in general, which is to, help people experience the deep pleasure of what it feels like to have a healthy body and a clear mind. And I think that the perfect intentional touch with the correct medium, whether that's an oil or a herb, can do wonders to direct the free flow of subtle energy, prana, chi, to regulate the nervous system, relieve pain, to nourish the body tissues like the skin and the joints. And so in this way, like a good Ayurvedic treatment should leave you feeling relaxed, relieved, refreshed, and nourished.
Beautiful, amazing. So what are some of the therapy or the mind-body rituals that you offer?
So there are various types of unique and wonderful Ayurvedic treatments. I offer about 15 different therapies. Most Ayurvedic treatments you'll find use warmth and a lot of very high quality herbal infused oils to nourish and hydrate the tissues and to promote waste removal. So let's quickly remember that simply Vata is mobile, dry and cold, Pitta is hot and oily, and Kapha is heavy and damp. Imbalance occurs when the doshas become excessive by means of unsuitable lifestyle and diet, meaning their qualities are increased within the body and mind to a point where their functioning becomes disturbed, which can lead to armor buildup and blockages in the channels.
Yes.
So
can I just say,
yeah.
When a client books in with you, you said you do like a short consultation first, but then you would prescribe the treatment. They can't just per se like book in for an Abhyanga or a Shirodhana. Like they have to do the consultation first, and then you guide them on what is going to be the best treatment for their imbalanced state.
So people can book in for like whatever treatment they like. I usually on my website, I write that you should generally start with Abhyanga or Mama Point first. That's kind of general in Ayurvedic treatment programs. There are a few treatments like the advanced treatments that it's kind of best to work up towards. You don't kind of want to jump in straight away because they can be quite powerful treatments. So I have a online consultation form, so I kind of get an idea of what someone is coming in for, and then before giving a treatment we'll then have more of a consultation. I'll usually do a pulse reading and look at the tongue as well, and then I can customize the treatment to suit them.
So share a little bit about the treatments and what they involve.
Yeah, cool. So I was just talking about like the different doshas and how that relates to the treatments as well. So for instance, imbalance in Vata is the cause of most diseases. It can present as like overwhelm and migrating pains. Excess Pitta can result in inflammation and irritation, and excess Kapha commonly leads to like congestion, lethargy, or depression. So with the treatments, we restore balance by using the opposite qualities, just like in Ayurvedic consultations. So for Vata, we use a more gentle approach with treatments that warm, ground, and hydrate. To pacify Pitta, we want to use moderate amounts of cooling herbal oils to soothe and slow, but Pitta people usually like quite specific work as well. And then for Kapha, we want to invigorate and use heat and more of a firmer approach compared to the other doshas, so they don't fall asleep on the table. Because of the pressures of modern living, which is, fast-paced and overstimulated, stressful, lack of sleep, I find that most people require Vata balancing first. They need to slow down, get out of fight and flight mode and into rest and digest. So like I was saying before, generally we start with Abhyanga and or Mama point therapy. So I'll talk a little bit about Abhyanga now. Yep. So Abhyanga means loving touch. It's a full body massage given in the direction of our lymphatic channels using generous amounts of warm dosha appropriate herbal oil, which is, determined during that consult time. So like most Ayurvedic massage and body treatments, Abhyanga is really good for lymphatic drainage, circulation, oxygenation to the cells, for hydrating our tissues, nourishing the joints, skin, relieving tension. And you can get very similar benefits if you just do it yourself too, although it's a bit hard to do the back. So with Abhyanga, we can also work on Mama points, which are these vital areas over the body where there's a density of nerves and a channel of subtle energy within that point, and they often overlap with acupressure points and reflexology. So when we work with the Mama points, we're helping to unblock that stagnant energy, unblock maybe some suppressed emotions, and they can also help to treat injury and pain as well. So that's kind of where we start. As a contrast, my favorite treatment is Kisali bolus, which is an advanced treatment. It uses poultices, which are basically little fabric bags filled with different herbs and plant ingredients that are cooked together. And then these poultices are soaked in quite hot medicated oil and are used to massage the body. So
I love those.
Oh, it feels amazing.
Really
right?
does. Yeah.
And that's good for all doshas, but more Vata and Kapha because it is quite deeply warming. And I mean, you feel that warmth like in the bones, right? And that's used for chronic conditions like anything inflammation related, arthritis, fatigue, and it's really good for pain and migrating pain and menstrual pain as well. So for Pitta types or during summer, there's a cooling version of that treatment called Navara Kizzy. And so in the poultices for that treatment, we use a rare red rice called Navara rice that is cooked in raw milk and a strengthening liquid herbal concoction called Bala Kashayan. And although the poultices and the decoction are still warm, the rice and the milk and the herbs have a noticeable cooling energy that you can feel. So it's really soothing for Pitta. And as another contrast for Kapha, a great treatment is Udvatanam, which means to, you can Udvachana as well. There's a few different ways to pronounce it. It means to elevate. So it's a massage and a herbal scrub. The difference with this one is there's a lot less oil and the treatment's more drying in nature because when there's Kapha, there is water. So we use a Kapha balancing oil, which is more heating and stimulating for the massage component to help relieve swelling and congestion and, lymphatic stagnation. And then the body is vigorously scrubbed in anti-clockwise way because anti-clockwise is unblocking and clockwise is more like stabilizing. And we, it's basically exfoliate the skin with powdered herbs, and that stimulates the metabolism of fat. It helps to break down armor and especially in the lymph and blood. And so that's really good for people on a weight loss program, as a cleansing treatment after kapha has built up in winter and spring as well. So at the moment with our weather, like now is a really good time for Udwatanam as well. So you'll find that most Ayurvedic treatments nourish the skin, feed the microbiome on your skin as well. They support the immune system via lymphatic drainage, increase the release of feel-good hormones like serotonin and dopamine. They help to reduce discomfort, and they really set you up for a good night's sleep.
Absolutely. I was recently at an Ayurvedic Panchakarma center in Bali, and
Wow.
you're so right about like the ritualistic experience of the treatments. Like you don't just go in, you know, get your gear off and lay down and have your massage and go. It is a real ritual. You go in and there was 2 therapists at the Panchakarma treatment, and they would like do a chant for you and and then just the undressing, like everything was so ritualistic about it. It was absolutely beautiful. It really is, and it does it nourishes the body, mind and soul all together. Very, very different to just walking in and getting like a massage, or you know, even the most beautiful massage, like they're amazing too, just general massages, but it's just a very different sort of experience. And it's really a medicine in its own right. So beautiful. It sounds like you do amazing work for your clients, and I just can't wait to get there one day.
Thanks. Yeah, I'd love to have you.
So many women, like, you know, are really, I guess, seeking more self-love rituals. We've sort of moved out of the hustle culture, and we're realizing that just burnt us all out, and women are really seeking that, coming back to self and that self-care and nurturing. So in your opinion, how are Ayurveda body therapies and self-love connected, and how can women or men practice some of these therapies at home themselves? Or is there, like we talked about, self-abhyanga, or are there some other sort of things and tips that you can give to connect back to self in this way?
Yeah, cool. So love is the most important ingredient in a good Ayurvedic treatment. I definitely show up with a warm heart and warm hands. Melanie Roberts says it really good, and in one of her books, I think it's Ayurvedic Spa, she says, none of us are perfect. Our doshas are somewhat disturbed. Our mind's not totally tamed. Our life choice is not perfect, yet we are doing the best we know how. So, and I love that, like, having compassion for others and for ourselves is so important. And I think that caring for yourself and investing in your well-being is really just an act of self-love and self-celebration. I think we can all feel that. And I think that if you're really wanting to open your heart and let go of some heavy emotions as well, there's a really interesting treatment called Hridaya Basti, which is a heart oil pooling treatment where we make a dough well, which is put over the heart chakra in the center of the chest, and it's filled with a warm medicated oil. And we also, I take my clients through like a guided heart opening meditation, and that treatment just feels like a hug for your heart. It's really something else. In terms of how you can bring these rituals into the home and for yourself, like we spoke about, Abhyanga is a really great and nice way to start or end the day, and it's a really nice way to connect with yourself and to explore your body as well. It's really interesting, like you can really, you know, get in there and give yourself a vigorous massage if you want, or you can just, you know, make it really gentle and passive, whatever you're feeling, because that's going to change depending on what you're going through, depending on, you know, where you are in your cycle and what's going on in the seasons. So it's best not to do Abhyanga after you've eaten. And I would say use warm oil, whether, I mean, most people would probably know that in Ayurveda, black sesame, cold pressed black sesame oil is really popular. It's, great for all doshas. It's, kind of nice and warming and stabilizing and a little bit heavy in nature. So it has that grounding effect, and it's got, magnesium and zinc and these great minerals and vitamins. And otherwise, coconut oil is good in summer, particularly, and for pitta people. And almond oil is a bit lighter as well. Or herbal oils are great if you can get like a dosha specific one. The important thing is to warm it. It's going to make it more easily absorbed into the tissues, and to always work towards your heart. So mostly upward strokes, from the feet, up towards the heart, from the hands up to the shoulders, and then you can just go in circular motions around the joints. You can pay special attention to the feet, to the ears, the belly, and the scalp. And or for people who, are kapha types, or anyone who has like congestion or heavy digestion, then dry brushing can be a better option as well. So that's kind of like a easy and really overall beneficial practice to do at home.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful practice that you can make really ritualistic by, you can go all out and have the candles and the beautiful music, or often I have prescribed it to my clients, but also with like a mantra to themselves, whatever we're working on. So they're working on their mindset as well as the touch and connecting to their body, and just taking that time out for themselves, because often we neglect taking those few minutes just to really connect to self, to mind, body, and spirit. And it's a perfect way to do it when you put it into your regime or your kacharya. It's
also really good for like any yogis or people practicing yoga. It can be really good, especially for increasing your flexibility as well, and I think yoga already does great things for increasing your own like bodily awareness, but doing that self massage, like you might be surprised at the weird spots of tension that you're holding that you might not even notice day to day. So it's a really cool experience to get to know your body and to get used to your body. And touch is really important. It's really important to have that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for going through all of the body treatments and therapies. And I think it's just sometimes people are not aware of, I guess, how much Ayurveda holds. Like, it has all the wisdom, and I do a lot of like online consultations, and when my clinic, I do in-person consultations as well. But you work very differently with people through this sort of method of Ayurveda, and that's beautiful. And it's just nice to get a greater understanding across all realms. So is there any takeaway or quote you would like to leave us with? Any final words on your behalf?
Yeah, absolutely. So just simply drink water, move and massage your body, get sunshine, get a minimum of 7 hours sleep, eat whole foods, healthy fats, and be there for others, but never leave yourself behind.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Can you just repeat that last bit? Be there for others, but
never leave yourself behind.
That is so good. And it is so important, because often we are there for everybody and then forget about being there for ourselves. So that is a beautiful key takeaway. Thank you.
And like you were saying, this self-care can look like so many different things, whether you're doing some stretching with your eyes closed, or you're having a long bath, or you're doing some breath work with some essential oils. Like, make it to suit your energy level. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can set the tone, I think it makes it feel a little bit more like a ritual and a little bit more special. And just give yourself permission to take off all the pressure, settle into the present moment, soften into your body, and just learn to love all parts of yourself. And if there are some negative emotions or thoughts that come up, then, see how you can turn these around and forgive yourself.
Absolutely. And I think
It's that intention's really important. That intention behind it is the main thing, to extend that love towards yourself.
absolutely. And a lot of these body therapy and treatments and rituals, they are all about helping release what we call armor. So that can also mean the mental and emotional armor that we build up and builds up into our bodies. So that's very helpful for releasing all of those.
And Nasya can be really good for that too. I love Nasya. It's been really helpful for me. So Nasya is the application of usually medicated oil into the nasal passages, and it just helps to clear out that mental armor, especially. It's great for hormone balance because it's, the nasal passage is a really direct way to access, the brain and the pineal and pituitary glands, which are our master hormone glands. And it's also just great to clean the brain lymphatics and just open up the channels in the face so that our senses can function in a more balanced way, so that we can feel mentally alert, and also fantastic for opening your respiratory channels as well. So definitely look into a Nasya if any of those things interest you guys, because that can be a really powerful self-practice that you can do daily if you want.
At home, very easy, very quick.
Yeah.
I love Nasya.
And that's often one of the therapies used in Panchakarma as well, and it's one that I do in the clinic here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much. So whereabouts is your Ayurveda Oasis? Where can people come to get these yummy, beautiful, nourishing treatments from you?
Yeah, so I'm on the mountain in Budrum in Sunshine Coast, open by appointment only, Tuesdays to Saturdays. I do a limited number of treatments that I offer each week, so book in advance and reach out. Like I have a lot of people, they don't know where to start, so you just send me a message on Instagram. My handle is ayurveda.oasis, and from there you can see my website. I have heaps of information about my treatments on my website, and the booking sites in my Instagram bio as well.
Amazing. I'll put those links in the show notes.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. Beautiful. It was so nice to chat, and your energy is awesome.
Thank you. Yours too. Really, really enjoyed it, and love chatting with my Ayurvedic practitioner friends. So
isn't it like crazy just how fast time goes when you're talking about it though?
I know, right?
It feels like we've been talking for 5 minutes.
Totally. I think when you're passionate about something, it just you're just in the moment. You're really present when you're feeling that passion and that love for something. So that's a good sign that you're on track. If you ever feel like that in your life, people, that time's flying by in a good way, it's because you're on your dharmic path in that moment, right? Yeah. Beautiful. All right.
Thanks,
you so
Harmony.
much. Bye.
Have an amazing afternoon. Bye.